So the Cardinals are taking on the Braves today, and it starts off with a 1-run top of the first for the Cardinals. It's currently 0-1 on Burleson. Nootbaar was able to draw a 4-pitch walk to start the game against Bryce Elder, and then Contreras grounded into a double play. And then Gorman was able to draw a walk, and Arenado hit the ball just past the center fielder for a double, and that drove in the run. So Gorman has already scored. It's 1-0 Cardinals here in the top of the first. And that center fielder is Harris for the Braves. It is 0-2 on Burleson. Third pitch to him is low and away on a changeup, 1-2. So that's how this game started. It is Nootbaar in left, Walker in right, Scott in center. It's pretty much the same lineup the Cardinals have been rocking all season, but with Gorman at second instead of Donovan. And today, Contreras is the DH with Burleson at first base. And Pozo is behind the plate instead of Pajas. The 1-2 pitch fouled back, still 1-2. Here's the 1-2 from Elder. Low changeup, fouled off once again, still 1-2 on Burleson. Mason Wynn is back at shortstop. He came back yesterday, so he's playing a back-to-back night into the day. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Burleson. Fastball upstairs, fouled back again. So Burleson really making an at-bat out of this. Elder's already up to his 23rd pitch of the game in just the first inning. The 1-2, low and away, dribbled out to shortstop. The throw is off target, so Burleson will have an infield hit, as Allen was unable to make that play. So Allen is back at shortstop for the Braves. Their infield is Riley at third, Allen at short, Albies at second, and Olsen at first. Ozuna as the DH, and Baldwin catching today. Murphy has had a good series so far, so he's getting the day off. It is White in left field, Kelenic in right, and Harris in center for the Braves today. 2 on, 2 out for Jordan Walker, as the first pitch is a sinker below the zone, 1-0. Pozo is on deck. Runners at the corners. Pitch 25 of the inning from Bryce Elder. Low and away, 2-0 now on Jordan Walker. Walker hitting .207 on the year, trying to get going. Does have 2 home runs in 22 games played. Here's the 2-0. Check swing, he did go around. 2-1 on Walker. That was a slider below the zone. Elder has not thrown a lot of pitches in the zone. 12 strikes on 26 pitches. That's below 50%. And Walker's ahead in the count, 2-1. The pitch is hung out there, but Walker sends one into center field, and Harris makes the catch. So the Cardinals strand 2 and also grounded into a double play, but they were still able to put up 1 run in the first on the RBI double from Arenado. 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first. So it's an unorthodox lineup for the Braves today. They are leading off with Harris. It will be Harris, Riley, Ozuna, Olsen. So just the top of the order changed, with Albies at 5, and then Baldwin, White, Kelenic, and Allen. So there are a few guys we haven't seen yet in this series. I'm going to try to grab some of their numbers now, and maybe Miles Mikolas as well. So here we go. Let's start with Baldwin. So Baldwin has played, he's had 47 plate appearances. He was the Braves' #1 prospect entering the season. He has a .717 OPS on the year. Does have a really good average exit velo and hard hit percentage. So you can see how he'll probably develop. Slightly below average right now. with -1 batting run value, but that's coming. He already has 2 home runs. This looks like he's going to be a very good player. Although he's slow and his catching stats aren't great, his hitting looks great. Looks like it's going to be. So I would watch out for Baldwin in this one. And let's see, who else? Well, Mikolas is back on the mound, so we'll take a look at some other stats later on. Mikolas is 0-2 with a 7.64 ERA, about 4.5 innings per start. Uses sliders for the most part, 4-seam second, and sinkers up there as well. So mixing fastballs at about 43% of the time, and then a lot of sliders as well. Michael Harris will bat first for the Braves today. He is hitting .209 with a 577 OPS. First pitch from Mikolas. He is a ground ball. The other way, Mason Wynn doesn't look like he has a play, and it's an easy infield hit for Michael Harris. So the speed working out well for him. Put that ball where nobody could make a play on it, and the Braves have a runner on already here in the bottom of the first. This game is free on MLB TV today, so you could watch along with me. Very, very easily, and you can time it up because you can see the scoreboard there. First pitch to Austin Riley is in there for a strike. That was a slider at the bottom of the zone. Riley hitting .298 with 6 home runs and 872 OPS on the season in 23 games. So that's a very good stat line. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Riley. Missed low with the slider that time, 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Austin Riley. Fouled back, 1-2. Riley's played 32 games against the Cardinals. Has 10 home runs in those 32 games, .355 average, and 23 RBIs. So very good career against the Cardinals. Not too surprising from a guy like Riley. Here's the 1-2. Way outside with the slider, 2-2. Mikolas is set to deliver the 2-2. Here's the pitch. Slider driven the other way into the open field, and the Braves will have runners at the corners with nobody out. Oh, they didn't send the runner, so they'll have runners on first and second with nobody out. I thought that was a very slow roller, so they'd probably send Harris to third, but they did not. So first and second, nobody out. Marcell Ozuna now at the plate. He's their best hitter, one of the best in the league with a 1.040 OPS. So Mikolas not having a very good game so far. Let's see if he can turn it around in the first. First pitch is a strike. That one upper outside corner, 0-1. Ozuna was a former teammate of Mikolas back on that 2019 Cardinals team. And maybe a couple seasons before that. Here's the 0-1. Up and in, fouled off of Ozuna's foot, 0-2. It is Ozuna, and then it will be Olsen. Ozuna has 4 home runs on the year. Here's the 0-2. In there for strike 3. Got him with the sinker. So Mikolas caught Ozuna looking that time. Baited him with the sinker. Made it seem like it was going to be that slider outside, and it came back into the zone for strike 3. Ozuna knows that Mikolas has that in him. He was a teammate for at least 1 season in St. Louis. Probably 2. Here's the first pitch to Matt Olson. Fouled away. 0-1. In 23 games, Matt Olson has 4 home runs as well, but just a 238 average for an 815 OPS. That's still above league average, but not quite Olsen's standard so far this year. Cardinals are playing Olsen to pull with the shortstop almost right behind the second base bag. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Matt Olsen. Missed low with the changeup that time, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch. Low and in, hit hard to right field, but Jordan Walker is able to drift back and make the catch. And Harris tagged to third base, so there are runners at the corners with 2 outs now for Ozzie Albies. Cardinals have Victor Scott in center field, Jordan Walker in right, and Lars Nootbaar in left. With their typical infield with Arenado, Wynn, Gorman, and Burleson, with Pozo behind the plate. So, obviously, Donovan out and Gorman in as of late. He also played yesterday. First pitch to Albies is a hanger, but it's popped up into right field. Jordan Walker drifts back and makes the catch. So the Braves strand 2, and it's 1-0 Cardinals after 1. Drake Baldwin didn't get a chance to hit in that first inning. We can take a look at Bryce Elder's stats now. Yes, he'll go back to work in the second. So Elder is 0-1 this season with a 7.20 ERA and 15 innings on 3 starts. So not a great start to the year. He's second percentile out of 100. Does have a low average exit velo. Good ground ball rate. And we'll see what he did last year. Last year he had a 6.52 ERA and 10 starts, so still not very good. 13th percentile. His last good year was 2023. You can see here, he was about average. With that ground ball rate and the low barrel rate really coming into play. Still not a great fastball velo. Not a great expected ERA either. So those numbers are catching up to him, but he does have a good changeup. And this season he has not, so that's one of the differences. Did he have one last season? He did, so that'll come back up probably. His changeup's been pretty good today. Let's check the Cardinals roster, make sure Donovan's not on the IL. Like I don't have any updates on that. I just want to see. Because Donovan's he's out of the, I guess he's just taking a couple days off in a row. Gorman is hitting pretty well. Maybe he needed a couple days off for some reason. All right. This game's not quite back yet. Now it is. There we go. First pitch to Pozo is in there for a strike from Elder. So it's 0-1 on the Cardinal catcher. Pozo hitting .316 with a 929 OPS. Here's the 0-1. In there for a strike with a slider at the bottom of the zone. Pozo's only played 5 games this year, but does have a home run and a 929 OPS in those games. He's also not too tall, so he has that small zone that can help out with drawing walks. Let's see what he does here. The 0-2. Low and away, fouled off. Still 0-2. So this is the 6th game of the year for Pozo. And here's the 0-2 pitch from Elder. Low and in with the sinker, 1-2. So the Cardinals really making Elder throw a lot of pitches so far. Already on his 32nd of the game. Here's the pitch. Foul ball off of Pozo's arm. Still 1-2. This inning is 7, 8, 9. It'll be Pozo, Scott, and Wynn. Victor Scott has been incredible in this series so far. Reached base in, I believe, 7 out of his 9 plate appearances, 6 of those being hits. So 2 3-hit games for Scott. Here's the 1-2 to Pozo. Up and in, fouled back. It's into the air and out of play. So still 1-2 on Pozo. Mason Wynn is going to be the 9th hitter. He also has had a pretty good series. Definitely had a hit yesterday. Here is the 1-2 to Pozo. Change up, grounded to third base side, and Riley makes the play for out number 1. So that will bring up Victor Scott. He is from Atlanta, and he's been incredible this series. Reaching base 7 times in these 2 games. And they're saying on the whole road trip, he has a 368 average over the last 6 games, so that's pretty good. First pitch to Scott is low and away, 1-0. I just want to see his numbers in Atlanta so far. He's been going crazy. The 1-0 pitch to Scott is a ground ball. Easy play for Olsen at first. He will try to race Scott to the bag and gets the out call. Scott thinks he was safe, so we'll have to take a look at that. Scott's OPS was 774 coming into that at-bat. And Marmol says he's out. So 2 outs now in the second for Mason Wynn. Let's see. Olsen did just get Scott by a quarter of a step there. So here's the first pitch with 2 outs and nobody on to Mason Wynn. It is low, but called a strike on the sinker. 0-1. So that was an unfortunate call for Wynn. But Elder missed with the sinker on the second pitch. 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Fouled away. 1-2 now on Wynn. So that was a slider low and away. Wynn had to reach out for it. Not a great pitch to hit there. 1-2 on Wynn. This is Wynn's second game back after injury. Cardinals have done much better with him in the lineup. Here's the 1-2. Low and away, fouled off. Still 1-2 now on Wynn. If you have an MLB account, you can watch this game for free on MLB.com. This is the free game of the day for MLB. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Wynn. Up and away, fouled back. Still 1-2. And then maybe you can watch my stream on the side during commercials and check out some of the stats I'm looking at for each player. As Wynn hits one out to center field, and it's caught by Harris for out number 3. So midway through the second, it's 1-0 Cardinals, and Mikolas will go back to work in the bottom half of the second. So we'll get to see Drake Baldwin, Eli White, and Jared Kelenic. So Baldwin was one guy we hadn't seen. I checked on his stats. Eli White is another guy I'd like to see the numbers for. So White has been in the big leagues for a few plate appearances each season over the last 3. Was drafted by the A's in 2016, and he's currently 30. His best year of his career was 2024, at least from what I can tell. This season, he's hitting .235 with a .644 OPS, so a little bit below average. Got that -1 batting value. Is a very fast player. 97th percentile in speed. Let's see last season. So last season he did produce 1 batting value, so a little bit positive with a 769 OPS. Still very fast. Good barrel percentage and hard hit rate as well. But the average exit velo was below average, so he's barreling the ball up without as much velocity. And he has a little bit more velocity so far this year. So that might be a good sign for White. I'm more excited to see the number 1 prospect for the Braves coming up here. And that is Drake Baldwin. So maybe we could take a look at Baldwin's. I guess we got to go here and look at Baldwin's minor league stats. He's been slightly below average so far this year, but let's see in the minors. .793 OPS at AAA. Actually, that was AAA and AA, just over the course of last season. In AAA, he had an .891, so that's even better. 12 home runs in 275 at-bats, so maybe not a huge home run guy, but a lot of good potential here. So let's see him put it to use against Miles Mikolas. It's 1-1 on Baldwin. The game took a minute to load up. I'm a little bit behind. We'll catch up. Here's the 1-1. In the dirt with the changeup. 2-1 on Baldwin. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low and away for a strike. A perfectly placed sinker by Mikolas, and it's 2-2. And here's the 2-2 pitch. We're live once again. And it's inside with the sinker. So Baldwin will reach a full count in his first at-bat of the day. Baldwin has played in 13 games this year. Does have 2 home runs on the year already. Here's the 3-2. Outside with the sinker, and he draws a walk. So, continuing to improve his numbers. Good start to the game for Baldwin, and that'll bring up Eli White. White does not have an RBI or a homer yet this season. First pitch, in there for a strike with the 4-seam, low and in. I think that's where Mikolas wants to put all 3 of these pitches. Gives him a good chance at a ground ball. Cardinals are playing White to pull. Here's the 0-1. Curveball right down the middle for a strike, and it's 0-2. So that was more of a Wainwright approach from Mikolas there. Just hooking one in there. See if he'll ground it into the shift or swing and miss. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs, ground ball right into the shift. Win makes the toss to second, and I don't know if Gorman even caught it. They're going to say out at second and dropped on the transfer. So it should have been a double play. Instead, it's dropped by Gorman. And it was on the transfer. So that's a good call by the ump. So White reaches on the mistake from Gorman. And that will bring up Jared Kelenic. Kelenic is hitting 172 on the year. Good defensive right fielder. First pitch is low and in, hit high in the air to center field, but Victor Scott is back and makes the catch. So there's 2 outs now with White on first. And that'll bring up Nick Allen. Allen hitting 250 on the year with a 586 OPS, so mostly singles on the year so far for him. First pitch to Allen. Slider at the top of the zone for strike 1. So a good pitch there from Mikolas. Allen also has no home runs, but I don't think anyone's expecting any. Does have 1 RBI on the year. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Allen. Low and away for a ball. 1-1. That was just a four-seamer. The 1-1 pitch to Nick Allen. Hit hard the other way for a base hit. It'll drop in front of Victor Scott, and there's 2 on now. Runners at the corners with 2 outs for the Braves for the second inning in a row. And that will bring up Michael Harris, who had an infield hit back in the first. So that was actually a hit and run. That's why Allen so easily was able to coast. Not Allen. Why White was so easily to coast, able to coast into third. And here comes Michael Harris. So 2 on here for the Braves. Runners at the corners. Cardinals are still playing Harris to pull, but Arenado has to play closer to his position to keep the runner honest. And Mikolas dirts a curveball there, 1-0. Harris hitting just .218 on the season with a .593 OPS. Does have 3 home runs. Here's the 1-0. Inside, 2-0 now. That was a slider at the top of the zone, just a little bit inside. So Mikolas probably going to want to find the zone here with Austin Riley on deck. And a 2-0 disadvantage against Harris. Instead, he'll check on the runner at first and gets Allen with a pickoff move, and that will end the second inning. So a great job by Mikolas and the Cardinals defense to communicate that the runner was going. Mikolas easily stepped off and caught Allen off the base. So we're through 2. It's 1-0 Cardinals. Base running error there from the Braves. So due up for the Cardinals in this inning, it'll just be Lars Nootbaar at the top of the order. Cardinals have had a weird game so far. Had the walk, and then the double play, and then a walk, and then a double that just got past the glove of Harris. And then Burleson was able to get a hit. But Arenado was unable to score. And then Walker stranded the runners at the corners. So let's see what Nootbaar's been up to. I think that home run might have improved his numbers. We could check reference because we haven't looked at this in a while, and then we'll go back to Savant. 125 OPS plus with those 4 home runs. And then I really want to see the walk rate. See if it's still up there. 94th percentile, 89th percentile in run value. These are all very good numbers for Nootbaar. The barrel percentage seems a little low, 58. 58th percentile. He was at 66th the last season, so he'll get it back. He just needs another homer. Those come few and far between, so they make a big difference in the stats. First pitch to Nootbaar is in there for a strike. That was a slider. Elder on his 44th pitch of the game. Here's the 0-1 to Nootbaar. Outside with a changeup, 1-1. Second time through the Cardinal order, Nootbaar walked his first time up. The 1-1 pitch is a strike, low and away, 1-2. One thing I've seen a lot more often from Nootbaar recently is squaring around, thinking about bunting due to the shift, but I'd like to just see him swing the bat at some of these pitches. Here's the 1-2 to Nootbaar. Low and in with the sinker, looked like strike 3. Elder did not get the call, and it's 2-2 on Nootbaar. If I was a Braves fan, I would be a little upset about that one, but we'll see. Here's the 2-2. Change up below the zone. Nootbaar did not swing on that one, and it's 3-2 now on Nootbaar. So Elder had two very, very close attempts at Nootbaar there. Neither of them went his way. Here's the 3-2. Ball 4 above the zone, and Nootbaar draws another walk. So a couple of interesting calls there in that at-bat. But they go Nootbaar's way, and he will reach base for the second time today. Contreras took the hit off the board. Not the hit. He took the walk off the board in the first with a double play. Let's see if he can, at the very least, not do that this time. He has been very good on this road trip. As he hits a ground ball to short, they go to second for one. It looks like a great play from Albies in order to just get the one out, as he fell down trying to catch that ball. So 1 on and 1 out now for Nolan Gorman. That was another chopper that could have been 2 if it was a perfect throw. Instead, Allen kind of sailed the throw, and Albies had to make a great play to get Nootbaar at second. So Contreras on first, 1 out. Here's the first pitch to Nolan Gorman. Low and away, skied into left field. Easy play out there and left. Play made by Eli White. And there's 2 outs with Contreras on first for Arenado. Arenado is 1 for 1 with an RBI double. Just snuck the ball past Michael Harris's glove in the first. Pitch 51 from Bryce Elder. Low and in, fouled back, 0-1. That was a sinker. In on Arenado's hands. This is one of those afternoon games, so the sun has a little bit of glare. You can tell. Here's the 0-1 pitch. In the dirt. 1-1 on Arenado. Arenado has 2 home runs on the year for an .827 OPS with a .277 batting average. The 1-1. Low and in, 2-1 on Arenado. He probably has, it does look like Arenado has the highest OPS of every qualified player that is playing today for the Cardinals. He would be second behind Donovan. The 2-1 is low, 3-1 if Donovan was playing today. Pozo has the highest of all players, but he's only played about 6 games this year. Here's the 3-1 to Arenado. A nice slider up and in the zone, 3-2. So that was a beautiful pitch from Elder. Now with the full count and the runner on first with 2 outs, Contreras will be on the move with this pitch. Arenado has not struck out from a full count this year. The 3-2, chopped up the middle. Allen ranges to his right and makes the play. So Arenado grounds out, and we're midway through 3, 1-0 Cardinals. We'll see how long Mikolas can hold this 1-run lead. It will be the top of the order because there was a pickoff to end last inning. So it'll be Harris, Riley, and Ozuna. So finally, I'm going to go ahead and pull Miles Mikolas. I might have already had his stats earlier. I mean, they're probably not very good. Yeah, 7.64 ERA, 1.58 whip, 17 2/3 innings. They have his pitching value at just -1 run. So he's been better than, like his peripherals suggest that he's been better than a 7.64 ERA, which is a very good sign. Like if we look at last year, he was 6th percentile, but this year he's at 39th. And in 2023, 21st. So he's actually been better this year than the last 2 years. Obviously, in 2022, he was a very good pitcher. That's why the Cardinals extended him. So we'll see if he can have another good year this time. He was drafted by the Padres in 2009, and he's 36 years old, so trying to hang on. This could be a tough inning against the top of the Braves order. Let's see what he can do. All right, it is back. Let's make sure we're live. Now we are. Truist Park. Mikolas versus Michael Harris, who had an infield hit his first time up. See what happens this time. The first pitch is in there for a strike. That was a four-seamer on the outside part of the plate. 0-1. Came in at 92 miles an hour. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Harris. Missed, just low and in. 1-1. That's one of the pitches that Newt Barr had a ball called on him, so fair umping there. It's not a strike today. Here's the 1-1. In the dirt, 2-1. It's one of the interesting parts of the game that will be missed when the automatic balls and strikes system comes into play for the majors. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Missed up and away, 3-1. The automatic ball strike challenge system will be introduced next season, and it'll take away those unique umpire strike zones. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Ground ball. Nice play by Burleson. He'll toss it to first, and Mikolas makes a running grab for out number 1. So a good defensive play all around by the Cardinals. And that'll bring up Austin Riley with 1 out in the 3rd. But as I was saying, the umps, right now, this ump, he has a zone that doesn't include the lower inside corner on a lefty, which is the lower outside corner on a righty. It's just not part of his zone. That won't be something that affects the game in the future because you'll just challenge that pitch and get the strike call. As here's a pitch to Riley, ground ball. Easy play for Mason Wynn. And another out for the Cardinals. So 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd. And that will bring up Marcell Ozuna with nobody on. Ozuna is 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. Mikolas got him with that sinker on the outside corner. And he misses upstairs with a fastball in this at-bat. So it's 1-0 this time. We'll see if Ozuna can get to his former teammate here. The 1-0 pitch. Low and away, fouled back, 1-1. Ozuna was a member of the Cardinals through 2019 when they made that NLCS run. Ironically, they beat the Braves in 2019 to get there. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there for a strike with the sinker. Another good pitch from Mikolas, and it's 1-2. Here is the 1-2 pitch from Mikolas. Fouled back, still 1-2. If you'll remember the series between the Cardinals and the Braves, where Ozuna was on the Cardinals in 2019, Colton Wong led off what was a 10-run first inning that eventually easily won them the winner-take-all Game 5 with Flaherty on the mound. There were discussions during the game when you go up 10-0 about switching up your starter, maybe saving Flaherty for Game 1 of the CS, but nobody wanted to take that risk, so the Cardinals pitched Flaherty and ended up getting swept in the next round by the Nationals. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Ozuna. Outside, hit hard to right field, and Walker plays it on a hop for a single for Ozuna. So a good hit there by Ozuna. It looked like a play Walker could have made if he had to, but he played it safe, didn't want to give up extra bases with 2 outs, and I think that's fair. So 1 on with 2 outs for Matt Olson. First pitch is a little outside with the 4-seam, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch to Olson. Curveball low in the zone, fouled back, 1-1. Matt Olson made his way to Atlanta from the Oakland Athletics a few years ago. He was signed after Freddie Freeman left for the Dodgers. Actually, he was signed before Freeman signed because of a disagreement. So, kind of made Freeman leave. That's what the Braves organization did. As they had the chance to get Olson and they didn't have the money to pay Freeman, it looked like. So that's what happened. An agent disagreement. The 2-1 here, swing and a miss by Olson, and it's 2-2. That was a curveball low and in. That move has kind of plagued the Braves since then, as the Dodgers do have a world championship since that signing. And the Braves are still looking for one, although Olson was incredible in the Braves' best year. As Olson hits a fly ball to left field, easy play for Nootbaar, he makes the catch. And we're through 3, it's 1-0 Cardinals in Atlanta. It'll be Burleson, Walker, and Pozo in the 4th. Let's see what Freddie Freeman's been doing this season. Just to compare him to Olson. Look at these deals. So obviously Freeman was fantastic in 2023. He's been very, very good this season. Wasn't as good last year, but obviously that playoff run makes up for everything. Still 98th percentile in expected WOBA, expected slug 99th, 87th in batting run value. Doesn't strike out a lot. Does whiff a good amount, I guess. Not the fastest guy. Average defender, but a guy you definitely want on your team. And if we look at Matt Olson, is he right up there? He is. So just 2 very quality players, but Freeman's been a little bit better, as everybody expected, I guess. Freeman was a superstar. It's pretty close. And the fielding, 1 out's above average versus 0 doesn't make a big difference. If we go back and look at the full length of these contracts, 2023, 98th percentile by Olson. Not a great fielder at the time. 2024, he was a good fielder, so I don't know how that makes any sense. He wasn't quite as good either, so I guess him and Freeman have been similar. And then 2022 is also part of the contract. 19 batting run value, 82nd percentile. So far I would say Freddie Freeman has been the more valuable of the 2, but I don't know if that's a fair comparison, because that's what everybody knew was probably going to happen. Yeah, no doubt about it. He was literally the best batting run value player in 2023, and he's been good ever since the contract. So let's get back to the game. First pitch to Burleson is low and away, but it's called a strike, so it's 0-1. That one was not a great call from the umpire, but it's the uniqueness of the game. Here's the 0-1 to Burleson. That one's a beautiful pitch. That's a sinker that has not been called a strike today, but he gets the call that time. It's 0-2. So there's another thing we won't be missing about the umpires is inconsistency. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Elder to Burleson. Upstairs, strike 3, swung under that fastball. Good pitch from Elder. And there's one away in the 4th. So Burleson probably felt screwed there, but it was perfect pitching from Elder. Can't blame him. Here's the first pitch. A little low, gets another strike call. This guy's decided to expand his zone a little bit. He went from a tighter zone now to a very big zone at the bottom half. That time Elder missed low, 1-1. Marmol has some words for him. No surprise there. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Walker. A little low, gets another strike call. Walker can't believe it. Marmol has a lot of words for the ump that time. There's no doubt that was very low. Not a good strike call. That was a little bit of an ego move from this umpire. You can see it. He made an emphatic strike call there. Here's the 1-2. Grounded foul by Walker. Still 1-2. So the Cardinals have 1 run on 2 hits today. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside. 2-2. The Braves have no runs on 4 hits. Feels like Walker is one of those guys that gets disadvantaged by umpires a lot. Here's the 2-2. Missed low with the sinker. 3-2 now. So that was the same pitch he called a strike a couple of pitches ago. And the 3-2 is grounded right back to Bryce Elder, who makes the toss to Olsen for out number 2. So Walker probably should have had a walk in that at-bat. Instead, the umpire didn't want to give him one. So it'll be Pozo with 2 outs and nobody on. Ivan Herrera will be returning very soon. He's made a progression to the 10-day IL and is beginning to ramp up his baseball activity. As Elder throws a slider and gets fouled back by Pozo, 0-1. So in about a week and a couple days, we'll have Herrera back. Inside pitch there, ripped down the line, fair by Yoel Pozo. So that'll be extra bases for him, and it'll be a double here in the top of the 4th. So the Cardinals have a runner on second for Victor Scott. That one was inside on the hands. He was able to turn on it anyway and get extra bases down the third base line. Keeping that pitch fair is an incredible feat, and Pozo is on second for Victor Scott. First pitch to Scott is low, grounded to first base. Olsen tosses it, and they get the out by a step this time. Midway through the 4th, it's 1-0 Cardinals. Let's see who's due up for the Braves. So I was talking about Olsen. It will be Ozzie Albies. And then Baldwin and White. Unfortunately, there's no storylines with Albies as much. I mean, he's a better hitter on one side of the plate. I do want to see his career splits one way or the other. Has Albies always been better from one side of the plate? Splits, career. Do they not have like right-handed hitter versus left-handed hitter splits? Oh, I could just use versus lefties and righties. Yeah. He has played 48 plate appearances righty-righty and 1 plate appearance lefty-lefty. He's done pretty well as a righty-righty, but just in general, he's better against lefties. Recently, he's been better against righties, but you expect him to be better against lefties in general. So it's kind of what you expect from a switch hitter. So that makes a lot of sense. I was confused by that. But yeah, right-handed hitters, like usually a switch hitter is a guy who's right-handed who learned to hit left-handed in order to be better at baseball. But sometimes you'll see those guys go righty-righty sometimes, and you'll also see them do very well against left-handed pitching because it's more natural. Oh, whoops, did I forget? I forgot to put this on here. So yeah, Albies. Here are those totals. I don't know if I showed them. Oh, not this. These. So you can see his OPS against right-handed pitching is about league average. Against left-handed pitching, well above it in his career. So there you go. And Miles Mikolas is back on the mound. Let's get back to the game. First pitch to Albies is a ground ball. Easy play at first for Burleson. And he makes the play. So there's one out in the fourth. That will bring up Drake Baldwin. Baldwin walked his first time at the plate. It's the bottom of the fourth with one out and nobody on. Here's the first pitch. Low and in for a strike. Good pitch there from Mikolas. Just dotting up the fastball. One out, nobody on. The 0-1 pitch. Missed a little low with the changeup. 1-1. So Baldwin, coming off of being a top prospect, already draws a walk in this one. 731 OPS on the year. The 1-1. Ground ball through for a base hit for Baldwin. So he's already reached base twice in this one. Continues to improve his numbers. Good job by Baldwin. So 1 on, 1 out. And here comes Eli White. White is 0 for 1 today. He hit a ground ball that could have been a double play, but it was not turned. Pitch is driven into right field. And Walker comes on to make the catch. So there's 2 outs with a runner on first for Jared Kelenic. Kelenic is 0 for 1. He has a 169 average with a 539 OPS on the year. Kelenic has 2 homers. Has a base runner here. We'll see if he can drive him in. First pitch from Mikolas to Kelenic is in there for a strike with the changeup, 0-1. Mikolas has been pretty efficient this game. About to throw his 53rd pitch. Let's try to get through 5 innings. Here's the 0-1. That was a curveball in the dirt, 1-1. So, a Maddox is getting through all 9 innings in under 100. If you are on pace for that, then you get through 5 innings in 55. So here's the pitch. Fouled back, 1-2. You'd have to throw a shutout in order to do that, though, and we're not expecting that out of Mikolas, but... Oh, wait, this is the 4th inning, so never mind. Mikolas is not quite that efficient in this one. This would be through 4 innings, as he misses low with the sweeper, 2-2. Mikolas is ready. Here's pitch 56 in the 4th. Swing and a miss. Slider inside. Gets Kelenic swinging over it. And Mikolas is through 4 in 56 pitches. No score for the Braves. 1-0 Cardinals going to the top of the 5th. It'll be Mason, Wynn, Nootbaar, and Contreras. So this is one of those beneficial situations where you have Mason Wynn at the bottom of the order rounding out the lineup, and he's a guy who hits a lot of singles, gets on base, he can steal bases. It's great having him at the 9 spot right before the leadoff because it almost extends as like another top of your order. And Victor Scott going right before Wynn is also valuable because he can steal, which gives you Mason Wynn's single ability driving in runs. So it's like a cycle, a very good lineup formation. He was producing a lot of runs before Mason Wynn's injury, and we'll see if it can do some more here. But also, Mason Wynn can get on base, and then Nootbaar can be a typical two-hitter. He's a guy who can drive the ball, can also pass the torch, get on base. And then you have Wilson Contreras, who's a real bopper at 2 or 3. So I love the Nootbaar Contreras. Like, when Contreras is right, you go Scott, Wynn, Nootbaar, Contreras from 8-9-1-2. That's a very, very good part of your lineup. And then Donovan at 3 with Arenado at 4 makes the lineup so deep. It's just such a good lineup in that case. I do like Gorman better than Burleson this season. Hidden maybe at the 5, but we need to see some consistency from Gorman, make sure he's not striking out. And Burleson can get going, so that's just interchangeable. I really like what the Cardinals have done. But Walker, Pozo, like the 6-7, I mean, they just aren't hitting very well this year. I do think Walker could get going. I don't mind having him there. And obviously when Herrera's in the lineup, you probably flip those two. Because Herrera's a real hitter. Very, very good hitter. Pozo's been a good hitter this year too, but just not a wide enough sample to believe in it yet. Here's the first pitch to Win. In the dirt. It's the top of the 5th inning. Elder is on pitch number 70. And Win is ahead in the count 0-1. Sorry, 1-0. Win is 0 for 1 on the day, though. As a slider catches the outside corner, 1-1. Win hitting .224. He had a line out back in the 2nd. The 1-1 hit high in the air, deep to center field, but Harris drifts back to the track and makes the catch. So that was a weird angle. I wasn't quite sure where that ball was going. It wasn't a normal angle of the hit, but didn't quite look like a homer, so surprised me that it got as far back as it did. 1 out, nobody on for Lars Nootbaar. First pitch is up and away, 1-0. Nootbaar's been the beneficiary of a couple nice calls that was able to give him a walk in his last plate appearance. Here's the 1-0. Low sinker, fouled back, 1-1. Nootbaar hitting .247 on the year with an .807 OPS, so nice and above league average. Here's the 1-1 from Elder. Fastball down the middle, fouled back, 1-2. That one was able to get into the upper deck territory of foul territory, which is always cool. I like seeing fans get baseballs when they don't expect it. Playing Nootbaar to pull a little bit. That's why he squared around earlier. The 1-2, swing and a miss. He chops right over that slider. Not a good swing from Nootbaar, but perfect pitch from Elder. And there's 2 outs with nobody on for Wilson Contreras. Contreras was able to draw a walk yesterday in the middle of the rain and pimped it. Right before that, Gorman, huge double off the wall. So it's 1-0 on Contreras. Here's the pitch. Hit the other way for a base hit. Great job by Contreras to stay on that one. He was in on the hands. He used that torpedo bat to drive it the other way with just enough exit velo for the hit. I like that for Contreras. Adds some opposite field pop to his swing. And he moves up to 1 for 3 on the day. So with 1 on and 2 outs, up steps Nolan Gorman. Gorman drew a walk back in the first and has scored a run today. As he swings through a fastball, 0-1. Gorman hitting .243 with a .758 OPS. 1 home run on the year. The 0-1 pitch. Upstairs, fouled back, 0-2. Feels like we're just waiting on that second Gorman homer. He's a guy who hits a lot of home runs. Might have changed his approach a little bit to get more average into his game, but you still like to see the homers. as he's a guy who can definitely go down and get one. So Elder is ready. His 81st pitch of the game, the 0-2 to Gorman. Upstairs, 1-2. Gorman had to be sent down last season after too many strikeouts. Seems like he has that fixed for the most part, although he is still striking out at a decent clip. Here's the 1-2. Low and in, slider fouled off his foot. Still 1-2. They had Contreras on the move there. He'll have to go back. Cardinals lineup is like Thanos Gauntlet. It's really, really good when it has all of the pieces. Here's the 1-2. In the dirt. Contreras tries to steal. Does a swim move, and they say he dodged the tag and does steal second base. He did the you can't see me celebration there. The John Cena. Let's see, he tries the swim move, gets around the glove. What a slide. There's no way you get this slide. Like, that's incredible. He put his hand above the glove. The ball was unable to tag him. They are not going to challenge. What a slide by Contreras. And he waits on second as the 2-2 is here for Gorman. Smoked deep to right field. Never mind. That is going to hang up in right. And it's a catch for Kelenic. I thought that slide was going to create a homer there. Instead, Gorman got under that one a lot more than I thought he did. So the home run swing is not quite back, but what a slide by Contreras. And we go to the bottom of the fifth, 1-0. That was a pitch, Gorman. I thought he was going to go get that one, man. Instead, he's 0 for 2, so a little bit disappointing, but if you haven't seen that play by Contreras, I want you guys to go back and watch it somewhere. That slide was awesome. Nick Allen is 1 for 1 today. He'll be leading off this inning, and then it'll be the top of the order with Michael Harris and Austin Riley. So we'll see. I don't know if there's anything to check with Nick Allen or Harris, so let's just go to the Cardinals roster real quick and just have a discussion. When everybody's healthy, this team can really turn it over. Like, let's see, Herrera and Thompson. I'm not that worried about Thompson. This is a pretty good pitching roster. I like Leahy, I like Maton, I like Helsley. I mean, you got to manage them correctly, which hasn't been going on. Fernandez and King, well, okay, mostly Fernandez. He hasn't been very good this year. He was a lot better last year. King was also, I believe, better last year, but I think he can figure it out a lot easier. And then Romero, he's been a little shaky, but he can get those lefty outs to end an inning. That's where I would bring him in, is like there's 2 outs, a lefty's coming up, and then another lefty's behind him. There's very little risk with that, just going Romero, getting the out. But then Matz has been incredible. Like, this is a guy who can go multiple innings out of your bullpen. I would say if you have an inning against lefties and he looks good and gets outs against lefties, then you leave him in, face more of the order. That's a lot of the depth on the pitching side. And then when Herrera is healthy, you look at this. So you have Scott Wynn churning over to Nootbaar Contreras, and then you have Donovan Arenado. This is Burleson or it's Gorman, or against a lefty, it's Baker, who might even hit up here with Donovan down here. That's excellent. Like, all the way through. Walker needs to get it going. But if he doesn't, you could always play Burleson in the outfield for a little bit. Like, or actually, you could do a whole mix-up. I wouldn't even mind Pajes at second base again, but I doubt that is ever going to come. Either way, Allen is up at the plate. It's 1-2 on him. Mikolas missed with that one. It's 2-2 now on Allen. That was a curveball in the dirt. Here's the 2-2 to Nick Allen. Sweeper in the dirt, and it's 3-2 now. But yeah, the Cardinals lineup, when you put Herrera back in that catcher slot, the only weak point is Jordan Walker, and he won't be a weak point forever. Here's the 3-2. Up and in, ground ball. Mason Wynn makes the scoop and makes the play. So 1 out in the 5th. The other thing is when you have Herrera either in front of Walker or protecting him right behind him, people have to pitch to Walker, and that changes his outcomes as well. He was very good at the start of the year. He struggled since Herrera's injury for the most part. So I would take a look at that as well. Also, Mason Wynn's injury didn't help him out either. There's a foul back for Harris, and it's 0-1. I really do think the Cardinals' pieces on offense are good enough really to win a World Series. Like it's that good of an offense. Here's the 0-1. But it's just the pitching needs to be so much better. And then the hitting only works when everybody's there. So when anyone gets injured, production falls off, and then you're looking at the pitching expecting more than what they can give. That's when you have those losing streaks like the Cardinals had prior to yesterday. That's a hard hit ball. Base hit up the middle for Michael Harris, and he's 2 for 3 today. That'll bring up Austin Riley with 1 on and 1 out. That was a broken bat single. A little bit strange. It looked like he almost barreled it, but the bat still couldn't handle the pitch. Austin Riley is 1 for 2 today. Average over 300 now at 302. First pitch to him with the runner on. He is way outside with the curveball, 1-0. On the pitching side of things, I still think the Cardinals have a pretty good roster, but it's not. I really want them to add one more starter and one more member of the bullpen, ideally. Although the bullpen could probably survive without it. You just need to manage it better. Play the right guys at the right times. It's hard to know exactly when, but you can't have Helsley sitting for 4 games straight. Here's the 1-1 to Riley. Up and in, check swing, foul ball, 1-2. 4 games straight with a day off, like that's like almost a week off for a really good pitcher. He had to stay active during that time without being in the game. If you're going to get pitching from a guy like Helsley, put him in the game. Like you need to get those outs. But either way, here's the 1-2 pitch to Riley. It's upstairs, 2-2. It also helps when your team is winning coming into the 9th inning, so you don't have to think about when to play Helsley, but sometimes he needs to come in the 8th. It just is what it is. Here is the 2-2 pitch to Riley. Instead, Mikolas will check on Harris, and it's still 2-2. So 1 on, 1 out, 2-2 count. Riley had a single back in the first. He's at the plate. Mikolas is set for the 70th pitch of the game. Here it is. Hanging curveball crushed out to deep left field. Nootbaar's back on the track. Riley pimped it a little bit, but it's not going to be a homer. Gets caught on the warning track, and Harris retreats to first base. So 2 outs, 1 on now for Marcell Ozuna. Ball's not quite traveling here early in this afternoon. The wind might have brought that one back. Riley thought he had a homer there. Not quite with the afternoon wind. And here's the first pitch to Marcell Ozuna. Slider in the dirt, 1-0. Ozuna having a very good series and a very good season. 1 for 2 today. 1.038 OPS on the year. Here's the 1-0. Up and in, a great pitch, but not quite called a strike. 2-0. Called a little bit in. That did catch the side of the zone, but he didn't get the call. Mikolas is set. Here's the 2-0. In the dirt with the changeup, and it's 3-0 on Ozuna with Matt Olson on deck. Ozuna's single back in the third dropped right in front of Jordan Walker, who played it safe. As Mikolas catches the top of the zone with a strike that time, Ozuna did not agree. It's 3-1. Kind of embarrassing there, but it was just a great sinker. Top of the zone. It looked like it was going to be above the zone, but the sinker came back down. Maybe Mikolas is revealing something that Ozuna struggles to see, is the sinker movement at the end of the pitch. Because Mikolas has used that on him a couple times. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Curveball way outside for ball 4. And there are 2 on for Matt Olson. Olson is 0 for 2 today. Has left 3 runners on base. So he left 2 on base in the first, 1 on base in the third. We'll see if he can leave 2 more on base here in the 5th, as Mikolas misses inside with a slider. 1-0. How many times can you get that third out being Matt Olson? See if it'll be 3. The 1-0 in there for a strike with a changeup. 1-1. That one was low and in on Olson. Pitch you would probably like to go down and get during something like a home run derby. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Olson. Upstairs, just high, 2-1. That one did clip the corner, but umpire not quite consistent today. Mikolas is ready. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Olson. Up and in, pulled down the line, fair. Burleson picks it up and beats Olson to the bag for out number 3. So Olson strands even more base runners today. That's going to be 5 on the game for him. And it's 1-0 Cardinals after 5. So Mikolas has been terrific so far. We'll see if Elder returns to the mound for a 6th inning of work here. It'll be Arenado, Burleson, and Walker. So a right-handed pitcher would make sense for the Braves. You expect them to probably stick with Elder. They're probably trying to preserve their bullpen, although they did a lot of preserving of the bullpen last game by leaving one reliever in for multiple innings. Either way, though, I expect them to probably stick with Elder for 1 more and then go to the bullpen for 7, 8, 9. It'll be Arenado, Burleson, and Walker. That's 4, 5, 6. So Pozo would be the 4th hitter of the inning. Yeah, you could probably stick with Elder. This Pozo, I don't think he has much history in the majors. Yeah, 2021, he had 77 plate appearances. For a 690 OPS, that's not terrible, but he just didn't make it back up for a number of years. Finally getting his chance at age 27, and he's doing pretty well. .339 expected batting average coming into the game. That's pretty good. And obviously, he can walk. He doesn't have a good walk rate, but I do think he could walk if he just takes more pitches. It's a very tough zone to put the ball into. First pitch to Arenado is a slider. It caught the lower outside corner. 0-1. Second pitch is in the dirt with the slider. 1-1. So back-to-back sliders from Elder. Even count so far. The 1-1 pitch to Arenado is in there for a strike with the sinker that time. That's a good pitch from Elder. Came back into the zone. Looked like it might be that slider. Good job by Elder. Here's the 1-2. Puts the changeup in the dirt. 2-2. Arenado 1 for 2 today with the RBI double back in the first. Was able to get to the center field wall, which was 2 bags for Arenado. Here's the 2-2. Outside sinker popped up. Easy play in right field for Kelenic, and he makes the catch. So 1 out in the 6th. He fist bumped a fan right there. That's pretty cool. Here comes Alec Burleson. Kelenic had a little bit of a controversy in their previous series where he tried to pimp a ball that was not quite a home run and ended up getting thrown out at second. And Acuna did not like that, as he expected Kelenic to be pulled from the game. And he was not. So the standard for Acuna was not applied to Kelenic. That was an interesting storyline. Here is the 1-0 pitch from Elder to Burleson. Upstairs, fouled back, 1-1. Burleson is ready. Here's the pitch. Low and skewed the other way for a base hit. So Burleson has 2 hits on the day. Starting to pick it up this season. Gets that OPS back well over 600. Which is what you like to see. That was a changeup below the zone. He just stuck the barrel down there. Cued it up between the shortstop and the third baseman, even though the third baseman Riley was playing well off of third base. Here's the first pitch to Walker. It's in there for a strike. 0-1. That was a sinker, low and in. Good pitch from Elder. He's at pitch 94 on the game. It's the 0-1 to Walker. Ground ball foul, 0-2. So Burleson on first, Pozo on deck, 0-2 count on Walker with 1 away. The 0-2 pitch. Change up. Fouled off his foot, still 0-2. This game is the free game of the day for MLB. You could watch this with just an MLB account on MLB TV or on the MLB app. So watch along. The 0-2 pitch from Elder to Walker. Low and away with the slider, 1-2. Walker's the one piece that I really want to see get going. He's hitting .202 with a .558 OPS. He had very good hitting numbers back in 2023 when he debuted, but hasn't repeated. The 1-2, hard hit ball to the right-hand side. They go to second for 1. They try to turn it, and he's barely safe. So Walker will be on first with 2 outs for Yohel Pozo. That was a very slow turn, and he was still able to reach base. They were still almost able to get him, is what I'm trying to say. So Walker not hustling quite that much there. His average is down to 200 on the year with a .551 OPS. So that'll bring up Yohel Pozo, the catcher. He is 1 for 2 today with a .333 average on the year. Sinker outside in there for a strike. This will be Elder's last inning of work in this one. Pitch count about to be 99. Here's the 0-1 to Pozo. Hangs the slider out there. They make the flip to second, and Walker is retired. So midway through the 6th, It is 1-0 Cardinals. Elder is done for the day. 6 innings, only 1 earned run. It came in the first inning. Great job by Elder to settle in and have a good start. We'll see if Mikolas can match that. Mikolas sitting at 79 pitches, so 1 or 2 more innings from him could be in the cards. You expect him to reach 90 pitches by the end of this inning, so he'll probably just go with 6. We'll see what happens. It'll be Albies, Baldwin, and White. Let's see, Albies StatCast page, 59th percentile in batting value, 68th in fielding value, so above average player. A little bit above average on the sprint speed as well. That's just what you can expect from him. 2023, he was excellent. I believe he had a good value back in 2018. Let's see, when was he first very good? Okay, 78th percentile in 2019. Not qualified. 73rd percentile in 21. So he just hasn't been staying healthy. 86th percentile in 2023. That's a very good year. He's down just above average so far. So he's been a good player. 28 years old. You kind of expect him to peak here, but he's been better throughout his career than he has been this season so far. So we'll see. Although, I mean, he is a guy who's used his speed in the past, so maybe he peaked earlier. Back in 2023, we'll see. Plenty of time for Albies. Mikolas versus Albies. Let's see what happens here in the bottom of the 6th. So despite 6 hits allowed, Mikolas has been very good at stranding those base runners. Let's see what he's done overall. He also had 2 walks, so 8 base runners in 5 innings. No runs allowed. Here's the pitch to Albies. Up and away with the fastball that time. 1-0. Cardinals trying to get back within 3 games of a 500 record. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Down the middle with the changeup, 1-1. Obviously, the sweep by the Mets was a big blow to the Cardinals' record. They had a 5-game losing streak, and they turned it around yesterday. The 1-1 pitch popped up to right field. Walker is in on the play, and he makes the catch. So 1 out in the 6th. That'll bring up Drake Baldwin, the catcher for the Braves. He was a top prospect for them recently. 1 for 1 with a walk so far in this one. Pierce Johnson getting ready in the Braves bullpen. So we can take a look at his numbers going into the next inning. Mikolas misses a little inside with the slider there. 1-0. The Mets have taken a 2-0 lead on the Phillies on Zach Wheeler over in New York. So that could go to a sweep for the Mets. That would put them at a 7-game win streak. Here's the 1-1 to Baldwin. Hanging curveball, queued up to left field. Nootbaar able to charge in and make the catch. So 2 outs now in the 6th for Eli White. Some other games going on. The Tigers have a 1-0 lead over the Padres. They've been pretty good in that series, so Tigers are a team to watch out for in the AL. First pitch to White is in there for a strike, 0-1. We have the Reds are tied at 2 with Miami, and then the Yankees are leading 4-1 at Cleveland. Here's the 0-1. in the dirt, 1-1. So the Yankees, we knew they'd be a threat. I was specifically high on them because I knew Goldschmidt could bounce back. So obviously they lost Garrett Cole. They're probably not going to win the World Series, but they're just a very, very solid team as usual. White fouls one back. It's 1-2. I feel like a lot of people were too low on the Yankees because of the Cole injury. But you have all of these players returning from a World Series visit. Obviously, they lose Soto as well. So you take Soto out of your offense, you take Cole out of your pitching staff. You're probably not going back to the World Series, but you've done as well as you can do replacing Soto in the lineup, getting Bellinger, getting Goldschmidt. So then it's really just the one pitcher, and they added Max Fried, so you can expect close to what they did last year as far as win total, and then probably not a World Series run. But it is the Yankees, Very good team. Mikolas about to throw his 89th pitch of the game, the 1-2. Ground ball back to the mound, and Mikolas will get out of it. So Mikolas threw 89 pitches in 6 innings, gave up no runs. A great start for Miles Mikolas. Finished it with a 1-2-3 inning. He might even get to pitch next inning. We'll have to see. So let's take a look at Pierce Johnson, who's going to face Victor Scott, Mason Wynn, and Lars Nootbaar. So a little bit of a righty-lefty. That's good for the Cardinals. So Johnson, obviously he was the Rockies closer for a while. Just an above-average pitcher this season. Went to Missouri State. Was drafted by the Cubs in 2012. He is 33 years old. Pretty good breaking ball. Doesn't have a changeup, so that's good to know. Just four-seam, cutter, and curveball. So they probably like to throw that cutter against left-handed hitters. If we do splits, righty-lefty, is that a thing they have here? Do they not have that? Platoon, yeah, here we go, versus left-handed. He's been pretty bad against left-handed, 1.88 whip. And then a 1.24 whip against righties. He's given up 4.32 runs per 9 innings, so there you go. I'll just leave this on the screen. I'm going to grab a drink. I'll be back in 30 seconds. All right. So Pierce Johnson's first pitch to Victor Scott is in the dirt, 1-0. The game is back. Victor Scott not doing as well today as he did in the last couple games. He's 0 for 2. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Johnson. Curveball at the top of the zone, 1-1. We are in Victor Scott's hometown of Atlanta. It is the Honda home run inning. We'll see if he can deliver with one of those today. He has 1 home run on the year. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Johnson. Upstairs with the cutter, 2-1. Victor Scott started off this series with a couple of 3-hit games. Trying to continue that here with another hit. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Cutter inside, fouled off, 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Johnson to Victor Scott. Curveball queued up the other way, but it's caught in left field for out number 1. Pretty good play from Eli White, making sure he charges that one. That'll bring up Mason Wynn facing Johnson. Johnson only has rightward movement on his pitches, just the cutter and the curveball. And he also has a four-seam. So we'll see if he sticks with the four-seam mostly against Wynn. You don't want the ball to move into the barrel. Maybe a four-seam and a curveball combo. Starts him off with a curveball up and in for strike 1. That's one of those pitches where if you missed it a little bit out over, it could cause a big problem against a guy like Wynn. He could hit a homer. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one was out off the plate. Another curveball, 1-1. So he probably won't hang one, but I'm just saying if he does, that's a good pitch for Wynn to hit. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Missed outside with the cutter, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch to Mason Wynn. Missed up and away with the four-seam that time. 3-1 on Wynn. So Wynn ahead in the count. He is 0 for 2 with a lineout and a flyout today. Just got back from an injury last game. OPS sits at 590 on the season, but he was very hot right before the injury. The 3-1 pitch. Curveball at the bottom of the zone, fouled off. 3-2. Cardinals very glad to have his defense back at shortstop and his on-base skills at the bottom of the order. Here's the 3-2 pitch to Wynn. Curveball low, chopped foul, 3-2. So that was a close pitch. It probably would have been ball 4, but Wynn didn't want to risk it. We'll see what he does here on the second 3-2 pitch. Johnson delivers. Up and away, cued over to Matt Olson, who made a good stop. And there's 2 outs now in the 7th. So that'll bring up Lars Nootbaar with 2 outs and nobody on. As Johnson's made quick work of the first 2 Cardinal hitters in the 7th. Does have a much worse whip against left-handed hitters. So we'll see if Nootbaar can keep that trend alive in this 7th inning. Nootbaar has 2 walks today. He's 0 for 1. First pitch, outside with the curveball, 1-0. The 1-0 pitch from Johnson. Fastball popped up. Easy play at third base for Riley. He calls off the shortstop and makes the catch. Tosses the ball over to Allen. Midway through the 7th, it is 1-0 Cardinals. So a lot of good pitching so far in this one. You wonder if Mikolas will come back out for the bottom half. It'll be Kelenic, Allen, and Harris. I would say definitely get the bullpen started. At the very least. Maybe just go to them outright. You could go with a good, hard-throwing right-handed pitcher. Because Kelenic is a lefty, and then you have 2 righties in Allen and Harris. Or you could stick with Mikolas, but if you do, you got to remember that Austin Riley is that 2-hitter. So just get a right-handed pitcher ready if you're the Cardinals here. Let's take a look at the options. You could easily pitch Maton. It's a 1-run game. Don't really want to mess with Matz quite yet. I wouldn't mess with Fernandez in this game. So Leahy, I'd probably start with Leahy. Leahy's the guy I would go to here. And then you have Maton and Helsley. All right, the game is back. Who's going to be pitching to Kelenic? This is going to be very interesting. It's the 7th inning. You could go Leahy. They're saying Leahy's thrown 20 pitches in the last 3 days, and they're worried about that. I'm not that worried about that. But they're going to go with John King here against Jared Kelenic. You start lefty-lefty, but then you have to face a few righties, so that's a risky move. King also has not pitched in the last 3 days, so that's somewhat reasonable. Maton obviously threw a lot of pitches, so that's why you don't see him. They're going to pinch hit Fairchild at the 8 spot, so it'll be lefty-righty for all 3 of the matchups for King. King has a 5.40 ERA on the year. Here's the 0-1 to Fairchild. A little bit outside, 1-1. So by having an ERA over 4.50, you have a guy who's likely to give up a run in any given inning. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Smoked foul, 1-2. Obviously, that's against whatever part of the order King has faced. So it's probably not quite likely that he'll give up a home run here. Or not a home run, a run in this inning, but still going to be a little bit tough. But you do hope King can settle into this season, and this is a good chance for him to do that. The 1-2 is a great sinker at the top of the zone. Strike 3 on Fairchild. So he comes in and strikes out. He'll be in the game at right field unless they make a double switch. That'll bring up Nick Allen, the shortstop. You wonder if they'll pinch hit for him. It is lefty-righty. He does have a hit today, so he'll probably stay in the game, and he does. So King versus Allen, 1 out in the 7th. Here's the first pitch to Allen. Just a little bit low with the sinker, 1-0. One-run game, big chance for King to step up this season. Fouled back there on the changeup, 1-1. Nick Allen has 1 RBI on the year, hitting .260. The 1-1 pitch from King. Right down the middle, smoke down the left field line, and it is down for extra bases for Allen. Into the corner, Nootbaar plays it off the wall, and it is a double for Allen. So a big extra base hit for Nick Allen. Very rare extra base hit for him as well. He has a 2-for-3 day going, and it'll bring up Michael Harris with a runner in scoring position. That was a changeup right down the middle. Very bad pitch from King. So runner on second and 1 out for Michael Harris with Austin Riley on deck. Okay, Harris is a lefty, so it's a lefty-lefty matchup. My bad. That makes sense. It makes sense why you'd go to a lefty in that case. But with Austin Riley on deck, you wonder if the Cardinals have a righty ready for that. Probably not. Here's the 0-1 from King. Down with the sinker, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch to Harris. Inside, ground ball foul, 1-2. So that was a sinker in on the hands. That is one of the big benefits of lefty-lefty. You can go sinkers inside, get the arm side run, in on the hands, create weak contact with that. See if King maybe has a breaking ball here. Runner on second, 1 out, the 1-2. Up and in with another sinker, fouled off again. Still 1-2 on Harris. Harris is 2-for-3 today with 2 singles on the day. This is one of those moments where the Cardinals really don't want to give him another. Fast runner like Allen in scoring position. Harris picks up a new bat. Hitting .225 with a .602 OPS on the year. The 1-2 pitch from John King. Inside, looped out to right field for a base hit. Allen comes around third and will score. So that will be a 1-1 tie game. John King does give up another run. And the throw did go to the plate. Harris did not advance, so he's on first base. It is 1-1 with one out and a runner on in the seventh. So King fails to deliver during his chance. And his ERA balloons up to 6.43 on the year. So, tough decision for Marmol. They are going to take him out now. Go to a right-handed pitcher to face Austin Riley. And that's going to be Kyle Leahy. So, could have probably saved yourself some trouble and just gone to Leahy in the first place. But instead, we have a tie ball game. So we'll look at what Leahy's been up to. He's been up to a lot of good stuff. Oh, wait, wrong tab here. Leahy. So there you go. Leahy's ERA at 1.8, whip at 0.47, 85% ground ball percentage, best breaking ball value in the league. Four seam 35%, slider 21%, sweeper 15%, curveball 8.9%, changeup 12%. So his valuable pitches are slider, sweeper, curveball. He mixes them in a good amount. And just doesn't let players pull the ball into the air either. So an excellent pitcher, and he's a guy you probably should have brought in to start the inning, as I was expecting. So it's unfortunate, but we have a tie ball game, and we'll see if Leahy can get the Cardinals out of it here against Austin Riley and Marcell Ozuna. So it'll be a tough two first batters here for Leahy, but hopefully he can get them both and avoid having to face Matt Olson. First pitch from Leahy. Swing and a miss. That was a slider in the middle of the plate. A little bit late from Austin Riley. Was a good hack, though. 0-1. 1 on, 1 out. 1-1 game. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Riley. Another slider. That's a perfect pitch from Leahy, and it's 0-2. That one was on the outside edge. So two good pitches. Let's see what Leahy has for Riley on the 0-2. Perfect four-seam at the bottom of the zone. Pitched him backwards. Strike three, and Riley goes right back down to the dugout. 3 pitches from Leahy. 1 strikeout. Slider, fastball at the bottom of the zone. Beautiful at-bat. Riley didn't know what hit him. Almost felt like that one tweet about the actor in Dune. I forgot his name, but here's the pitch to Ozuna. Missed just a little outside with the fastball there. 1-0. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. On the sweeper, 1-1. Foolish Bailey did a video about that at-bat, trying to find that at-bat. Leahy almost imitated that at-bat in this one, but didn't quite hit the corner. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Ozuna. Way upstairs, 2-1. We'll see if Leahy can get this second out. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Ozuna. A nice slider there right down the middle. Ozuna just freaking out over it for some reason. It's 2-2. It's like he doesn't know that pitches move. But he is a good hitter. Reached base 2 out of 3 times in this one. Maybe it's just sunny. I don't know what his problem is. Harris on first. The 2-2 pitch to Ozuna. Sun glaring down. The 2-2 is low with the sweeper, and the count is full. So Harris will be off with this pitch. And we'll see what Leahy has for Ozuna. If I were Leahy here, I'd probably try to go up and in with the fastball. Here's the 3-2. They go up and in with the slider, and he pops it up. Easy play for win. He makes the catch. And we're through 7, but John King did give up 1 run in the 7th, so it is 1-1, and it'll be Contreras, Gorman, Arenado when the game returns in the 8th. So righty, lefty, righty, and the Cardinals' 5th hitter is Burleson. So they've got righty, lefty, righty, lefty. So you don't really know who to go to here. Probably just going to be a right-handed pitcher. But it's 3 very good hitters for the Cardinals, so let's see which righties are available for the Braves. Here we go. Iglesias, Hernandez, Bummer, Lee, Johnson, De Los Santos, Montero, Chavez, and Blewett are their bullpen. Blewett started yesterday. They only have a 4-man rotation, so some of these guys have to start. Out of the righties, they already used Johnson, so they got to be going to Daysbel Hernandez here. It's the only thing that makes sense. De Los Santos pitched very recently. Montero has not been good in this series. He also pitched yesterday, so definitely Daysbel in the 8th. So I'm just going to get his numbers ready, because I'm sure he'll be the pitcher. So he had a 2.50 ERA last year, and he has a 2.70 this year with a 0.7 whip. Puts him at 85th percentile in pitching value this year. 96th percentile in expected ERA. So, very good pitching from Hernandez, and you expect him to be coming in the game here. And they go with Montero instead. So, Montero, who pitched very bad yesterday, gave up 2 earned runs and got 1 out last night, is back in the game. So, he has a 5.40 ERA. He's going to be facing Contreras. First pitch from Montero. Up and in for ball 1. 1-0. Gets Contreras to swing at the second pitch. 1-1. So now we are live. Let's see what Contreras can do against Montero. The 1-1. Low and in, fouled off. 1-2. Montero has a 1.92 whip on the year. 62% ground ball rate. 10.8 strikeouts per 9, so that's pretty good. The 1-2 pitch to Contreras. Upstairs, 2-2. I really wouldn't expect them to go to Montero in a game where they are in it so close. When they had Hernandez available, let's see if this will bite them. The 2-2 to Contreras. Fastball low with the splitter, fouled back, 2-2. Maybe Hernandez pitched yesterday too. Like, I just don't remember that. So, who knows? Two Contreras. Low and away with the slider. 3-2. So a good at bat from Contreras here. Worked the count full. Here's the 6th pitch from Montero. The 3-2's up and in, fouled back, still 3-2. Full count pitch once again. Low and away for ball 4. He doesn't get the call on the corner. And Contreras reaches with a walk in the 8th. That has been an inconsistent spot all day for this umpire. Started out by calling it a ball, switched up to a strike on Walker and a couple other guys, and has gone back to a ball. So Contreras, the go-ahead run on first base with nobody out for Nolan Gorman. First pitch from Montero to Gorman. Fastball low and away. That one's a strike. Pretty much the same pitch, but just the other side of the plate. And it's 0-1 on Gorman. This is one of those moments where if you throw a fastball in the wrong spot, Gorman could deposit it into the right field stands. Let's see. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Gorman. Fastball, a little bit too high for Gorman's liking, and he fouled it off. 0-2. Arenado is on deck. The 0-2 pitch to Nolan Gorman. Splitter in the dirt, 1-2. I will say Gorman doesn't see changeups very well, but it seems like he does see splitters very well. And I don't know what the difference is, but it was a good job by Gorman to see that one. And it is 1-2. Here's the pitch to Gorman. He proved me wrong. He swung right over that splitter for strike 3. And he goes down for the first out of the 8th. So that one was a little bit better, a little more deceiving, and he struck out. So 1 out, 1 on for Nolan Arenado. Arenado is one of those guys you also would want hitting in this situation. Don't know how good he would do against the splitter, but if you miss with one of those fastballs out over the plate, you're in trouble. First pitch, fastball right down the middle for a strike, 0-1. So Arenado's seen one now. Did have an RBI double back in the first, the only RBI for the Cardinals in this game. It is 1-1. Contreras on first, the 0-1 pitch. Arenado fouls it off. Just out of play into the seats. 0-2. Nice play made by a fan in the crowd that time. To get that foul ball. Souvenirs are always fun. Contreras still on first. Burleson waiting on deck as they check on Contreras. Olsen throws it back, still 0-2. Arenado digs back in. Big moment in the game here. Tie game. Runner on first. The 0-2 pitch to Arenado. Fastball right down the middle, ripped to left field, but an easy play is made in left by Eli White, and there's 2 outs in the 8th. So that'll bring up Alec Burleson, who is 2 for 3 in this game. Another big opportunity for the Redbirds. Contreras standing on first. An extra base hit could probably score him, especially if he can get this count to full and get Contreras on the move. Burleson has just 2 singles in this one. He's been good against the Braves in his career. First pitch to Burleson. Splitter below the zone, fouled off, 0-1. So Montero, after a bad outing yesterday, might be able to get 3 outs in this one without any damage. Let's see. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Alec Burleson. Goes down and squares it up for another base hit up the middle. So the Cardinals have 2 on now, first and second, with 2 outs in the 8th. That'll bring up Jordan Walker. So Burleson with his 3rd hit of the game. Just a change up below the zone. He goes down and puts the barrel on it for the 2nd time today, doing the same exact thing. Not trying to do too much, letting the barrel drive the ball in the air over the middle of the field. That'll be it for Montero. as they will bring in a new pitcher to face Jordan Walker. Walker is 0 for 3 with a 200 average on the season. So I wish I was able to see who they just brought in. Let's see. Is it going to be Daysbel Hernandez? I'm going to look at his stats again. Here you go. 0.7 whip. Let's see what he did last season. So he was not quite qualified, only threw in 16 games last year, 18 innings, but 26 strikeouts in those innings. 94th percentile in fastball velo, a 1.11 whip. So good last season, 2.50 ERA. All of his expected numbers are really good. But he only threw in 4 games in 2023. He wasn't great there. Has been great so far this year. Great. Got a spam comment there. Oh well. All right. It will be Hernandez. So he is coming into the game. He'll be facing Walker. Walker is 0 for 3 in this one. Has not struck out in the game. So putting the ball in play, eventually you might be able to find a gap. But you never know. Walker's that one piece, just the only piece in the lineup that you just want to see get going. Everybody else seems to be getting their feet under them, but Walker just not quite yet. All right, the game is back. So let's get it on the screen. Here we go. Daysbel Hernandez, we have a timeout already. Okay. Who knows what that was? All right. So Hernandez gets ready once again. Only thrown 11 pitches in the last 3 days. He's a guy I thought they were going to bring in to start the inning. First pitch to Walker. He is a slider in the dirt, 1-0. So 2 on for Jordan Walker. 2 outs in the 8th. A tie game at 1, the 1-0. Slider a little bit up and in. That one got around his hands. It backed him up a little bit. Back door. 1-1. Walker has a line out, a ground out, and a fielder's choice today. As he swings over a slider low and away, 1-2. Walker's OPS sitting at just .551 on the year. Does have a couple of homers. Here's the 1-2. Slider below the zone, 2-2. If he can just draw another ball in this at-bat, you'd have both runners on the move. Here's the 2-2. Little inside, swung over the slider, another back door, and it's strike 3, and that will end the top of the 8th. So we're midway through the 8th. It's 1-1, and the Braves will come to bat in the bottom half. So that's unfortunate. Kyle Leahy came into the game last inning. You wonder if the Cardinals will stick with him or maybe go to a lefty. Ozzie Albies has been better in his career against lefties. We checked on that earlier. And Drake Baldwin is the catcher. He'll be the 3rd batter of the inning. So I would probably stick with a righty, maybe stick with Leahy. It's either that or you go to Phil Maton. But with Marmol coaching your team, he might just go with the first batter because Albies is a switch hitter and Olsen is more established than Drake Baldwin. I wouldn't go to a lefty, but Marmol might. So let's just see who that might be. My expectation is it's going to be Maton. If he goes to a lefty, Matt's threw a lot of pitches in the last couple of games. I would just go Maton. Either that or you leave Leahy in, but Leahy's thrown a lot of pitches. I wouldn't want to see Romero, but he might do that. Let's just see Maton. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, the game is back. Whoops. Perfect. Mikolas was very good today. 6 innings, 0 earned runs. Won't get the win, unfortunately. Only got 2 strikeouts for 2 walks. 6 hits allowed. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Will it still be Leahy? No, it won't. It will be Romero. So I completely disagree with this from Marmol. I want to say that right now. Because Albies is better as a right-handed hitter. And Romero has not been a trustworthy pitcher. Second pitch is low, 2-0. So we're seeing more of the same from JoJo. Here is the 2-0 pitch. In there with a sinker, 2-1. So he is able to find the zone. I would expect Romero to be able to get Olsen, but he has to find the zone to do that. The 2-1 is right in there, and he gives up a single. So driven the other way, 1 on, nobody out in the 8th. And it'll only get harder for Romero from here. Some of these guys should only be pitching in games where you're behind. Here's the pitch to Albies. In there for a strike. Albies has been a little bit worse as a right-handed hitter this season, but over the course of his career, it's a vast advantage to be on the right-handed side. So hopefully this plays out okay. The 0-1 pitch to Ozzy Albies. Ground ball chopped to third base. It's going to be a really tough play for Arenado. He had no play. Infield hit for Albies. And that'll bring up Drake Baldwin. So in that case, Arenado might as well have just waited on that one. See if it goes foul. But he charged in a little bit hard, and yeah, that was not going to go foul. That was just a perfect infield hit for Albies. So 2 on. Nobody out for Drake Baldwin. And it'll be Sean Murphy pinch hitting, so this only gets more and more difficult, as Dusty Blake will give him the scouting report and talk to Romero a little bit. Sean Murphy has 6 home runs in the game. Sorry, 6 home runs on the season. He had a couple in this series. Over that left field bullpen. So hopefully Romero can get a ground ball here. So the home run hot zones for Sean Murphy are just anything that's not on the corners. So just throw it on the corner. That's how you prevent a home run. I would probably say your best spot in this situation is low and away. You try to get him to roll over one. First pitch is right down the middle. Fouled off, but it rolls back into fair territory. And so there's an out at first, and it will pretty much be a sacrifice bunt from Sean Murphy. So an interesting play there by Pozo. He could have probably grabbed that ball while it was foul. Well, no. He probably could have prevented that from going fair. But he did not dive on that one, and he waited, and it was able to travel into fair territory and move the runner to third base. So here comes Eli White. This is an interesting spot because you really just need to prevent that one run. Like, you don't really care if a bunch of runs score. You just want to prevent one run from scoring. So you could probably put White on first base, try to get a ground ball, or just play infield in. White is a right-handed hitter. Fairchild is as well. Romero is not the guy I would want in the game right now. I would probably want to walk White, let Fairchild face a righty. Cardinals are going to make that righty Ryan Fernandez, it looks like. I probably wouldn't have chosen Fernandez, but we'll see what the Cardinals do. All right, Romero is done. We'll see if they walk White or if they make Fernandez face him. Interesting bullpen management, as usual, from Ollie Marmol. So, let's see. I mean, Fernandez has not been good this year. I don't think anyone needs to be reminded of that. But let's just take a look. How has he been? 13th percentile in pitching value. Has good fastball velo. Pretty good chase rate, but other than that, I mean, okay, the ground ball rate is pretty good. Was he better at that last year? No. So you can't expect the ground ball rate to stay that good. Good breaking ball. No off speed, so he doesn't have a changeup. Pretty good expected ERA. He was good last year, but this year he has not been. So with the game on the line, it's a little bit risky. I don't mind it now that you've already pitched Romero and you've got yourself into this, because he can get a ground ball. But you got to walk the first hitter. You don't really expect that ground ball to work with infield in. Like, I would rather face Fairchild and Nick Allen than Eli White and Fairchild. Because White's been seeing the ball all season. He's been getting at-bats. He hasn't been great. He's hitting 200, but I'd rather get a guy like Fairchild who they just pinch hit. He's a right-handed bat. Try to get the ground ball from him. And then you go to Nick Allen. So let's see what happens here. Fernandez ERA sitting over 11, 11.25 on the year. They're going to have him pitch to Eli White. I disagree. Here's the first pitch. A little bit low with the cutter. 1-0. So maybe they could pitch around him. But if you go below the zone enough times, the guy's going to just go down and square it into the air. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Outside with the cutter, fouled off, 1-1. What you really want to see here is a strikeout. You do have the velocity from Fernandez to get that done. Maybe you go up and in, but even then it could just get cued. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Low and in, absolutely smoked, and that's going to be a 3-run home run for Eli White. The in-game management by Oliver Marmol needs to be questioned after this game. 3-run home run. It is 4-1 Braves in the 8th. Fernandez hangs an easy off-speed, breaking ball there. Sent to the moon. And Fernandez ERA goes up to 12.38 on the season. And the Braves have a big lead. Pitch is fouled back. 0-1. Fairchild is now up, batting 8th. You could have had Fairchild with the bases loaded, but instead he's batting with the game pretty much over. Cardinals would need a very good rally in the 9th to stay in this one, as Fairchild fouls it off of the glove of Pozo. 0-2. Yep. Marmol is the one to blame for this one. The bullpen isn't great, but you have the pieces to get through this. The 0-2, strike out there. Fastball above the zone. Fairchild will fall to 0 for 2 on the day. 2 outs, it'll be Nick Allen versus Fernandez in a 4-1 game in the 8th. First pitch to Allen is above the zone, 1-0. Allen is 2 for 3 today. 275 average on the year with a 648 OPS. He was able to hit a double earlier. swings over a slider that time. It's 1-1 on Allen. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Fernandez. Check swing. Yes, he did. It's 1-2. That was a slider in the dirt. We'll see if Fernandez can get out of this after giving up that one big homer. The 1-2. In the dirt, Allen chops right over it for strike 3. And the putout is made to first. But the Braves did the damage. A 3-run homer off of the hands of Eli White. And the Braves lead by 3 going into the 9th. So they could probably stick with Hernandez. Maybe they go with Bryce Iglesias here. It'll be Pozo, Scott, Wynn. That's 7, 8, 9 for the Cardinals. Could probably pinch hit for Pozo. He is 1 for 3 today. It's the base runner game once again in the 9th. See if the Cardinals can get guys on. But the bullpen decision making just didn't make any sense. I was saying it as he did it, that Marmol should not have gone to JoJo, and that didn't work out. And then Fernandez didn't make much sense either when you have Maton available. But here we are. Maybe Maton wasn't available. Even if that's the case, I would have stayed with Leahy. Because you don't want to face Albies when he's hitting on the right-handed side of the box, the right-handed batter's box. But either way, Marmol did what he did. It's 4-1 Braves. They probably stick with Hernandez or go to Bryce Iglesias to face righty, lefty, righty at the bottom of the Cardinals order. It is strictly alternating, this lineup. The only time you don't have alternating righty-lefty is Pozo and Walker, but Walker batted last inning, so Pozo is the righty. So the game is back. Let's see what happens. First pitch from Hernandez to Pozo is called a strike. That was above the zone. Should be 1-0, but it's 0-1 on Pozo. The ump didn't like that Pozo stepped out. Second pitch popped up. Easy play in the infield. And Matt Olson calls off the pitcher and makes the catch. So 1 out in the 9th. That'll bring up Victor Scott. Victor Scott having a great series in Atlanta, but he's 0 for 3 in this one. The first pitch, inside 1-0. That was a slider, in off the plate. See if Victor Scott can reach base. The 1-0 pitch, slider on the outside part, called a strike. The umpire continuing to be inconsistent, but that one was a strike, so it is what it is. Here's the 1-1. Chopped foul on the slider inside, 1-2. Scott is 6 for 11 on the series, came into the game 6 for 8 with a walk. Hopefully he can reach base here, the 1-2. Above the zone, 2-2. So he put on a show for his family members in Atlanta. Hopefully he can finish it off with one more here, the 2-2. Up and away for a ball, and Scott has drawn a full count. Hopefully we can get this to load. The 3-2, low and in, swing and a miss over the slider for strike 3. So Hernandez making quick work of the first 2 Cardinal hitters. And the game will come down to Mason Wynn. Wynn and Nootbaar would need to reach base to keep this game alive. The pitch, swing and a miss with the fastball, 0-1. That was a perfectly placed fastball on the outside edge. And it's 0-1 on Nootbaar. The 0-1 pitch to Win. Ground ball up the middle, through for a base hit. So Mason Wynn keeps the game alive. Now it'll come down to Nootbaar. So Nootbaar, in order to keep the Cardinals alive, the only thing you have to do is reach base. It's as good as a homer as far as I'm concerned. Just draw a walk like you have all year, Nootbaar. And then it would move to Contreras with a chance to tie the game. So Nootbaar, just get on base. Let's see what he can do. The first pitch to Lars Nootbaar. Fastball right down the middle. Perfect pitch to attack him with. 0-1. Wynn advances to second on defensive indifference. Gets rid of that force out. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Nootbaar. Fastball outside, 1-1. Nootbaar has 2 walks in the game today. Just looking to reach base here. He's got to protect the zone. Here's the 1-1. Inside, broken back ground ball to Albies, and the Braves win. So the Cardinals lose yet again. They lose the series to the Braves. Blow a game that they probably should have won because of bad bullpen management, in my opinion. And the Braves win the series. So the Cardinals will fall well below 500 once again. From 4 games below now to 5 games below 500. And the season is not looking great for the Cardinals, despite a very solid offense that was unable to produce in this one. You really need Herrera back. We'll see what happens. Either way, Braves win. Tough one for the Cardinals, and I will see you guys very soon.